I wrote a fan-made Season 2 for Tron Uprising, which you can find in the iCard, the description, and on my channel right now, as well as Wattpad if you're not wanting to watch the video but more so read the script. This video is a breakdown of the process, as well as answers to some general questions posed by the fans of my Season 2. The first question I want to answer is, where did the idea for Season 2 come from? I first saw Tron Uprising in September of 2024. I was blown away, to say the least. I couldn't stop thinking about the characters, the world, the story, the beautiful art that came way before Spider-Verse, Arcane, and other pieces of media that popularized its art style. It changed my life, and seemingly no one, not even Tron fans, knew about it, so I used the leverage of Ares being in theaters to start my own revolution. I wanted to kickstart the slowly dying heart of the Tron franchise by getting people to support Ares and, by extension, Tron Uprising. But after I watched Ares, I fucking hated it. The music was good, but it felt so devoid of life. It hit me that if Disney didn't care enough about Tron to give it a worthy sequel after 15 years, they probably wouldn't do it with Tron Uprising. The way less popular, in comparison to Legacy, Uprising is nothing. So I decided to write my own script. Here's some words from my brother and writing consultant, Jonathan Lemmon, about the start of that process.
Okay, so when did we first come up with the idea? So we were camping at our aunt and uncle's new property. We were just like, wait, what if Season 2, actually existed? So then we just, yapped for, 2 hours while our dad tried to go to sleep. What did we first set out to do? There was a lot in between, Season 1 and Tron Legacy. There was just too much open. So we were just we need to fix the cliffhanger. But it was huge. There was so much missed opportunity that could have been solved with the Season 2.
User Harleen Bat on Discord asked the following: if there is anything you could do over, what would it be? One, just put more effort into canonizing Tron Evolution. The time frame I was writing on didn't allow me to play the game that I've heard was repetitive and mid, so I opted to watch a playthrough at 2x speed because it was 50 minutes long and I was bored. To my knowledge, I found an inconsistency with what Cora said in the game and in Legacy. She's talking about how someone smuggled her out of Tron City and then she was found by Flynn, but the finale to Evolution, her and Anon are in a recognizer and it blows up and crashes, and it wasn't really a smuggling but more so a fight, and then they're basically ejected away from Clue. It's weird. Anyway, I took the easy route and just said, nah, I'm gonna exclude it. Is that lazy? Absolutely. Did I tell the story I wanted to? Also yes. If I was the writer for an official Season 2 produced by Disney, I would have done differently. Number 2, I never explained how Beck lets the new renegades like Zed, Mara, know about the new secret base. If I could redo the season, I would explain the backup plan the crew made after the events of Terminal. The crew essentially set up meeting spots and escape routes in case Tesla got mad and came after them, well, because they kind of did a mutiny. Very easy to set up, I just forgot to do so. Number 3, I would have Tron, but more specifically Beck, do a little bit more in episode 18, especially because at this point, Beck had fully embraced the Tron title, and then he just kind of gives up. It kind of pisses me off. By the end of proofreading, I was kind of burnt out and just wanted a different project, but I still had tens of hours to edit. It took about 3 hours per episode, and there's 18 episodes, so you do the math. I honestly I really just want a different project, and Tron Uprising Season 2 suffered a little bit because of that. So I'd probably have Tron come up with one plan of escaping, and then they get overpowered again. Same outcome, but at least they just didn't outright give up. Instead, Clue kind of forced their hands. Number 4, I wish I had more time, as well as an easier form of communication, so I could find some voice actors as well. I did all the voice acting myself, which worked out fine, but after I posted this season, one of the viewers, DustDevil66, I found him on Discord, posted some lines of hidden voice acting as Tron, and holy peak. I'm going to play some of them right now because they're actually, I can't stop laughing at how good they are.
You can take my voice, earn my name, but you will never be able to remove the hope that the programs cling to. The hope that Beck instilled upon them, upon me. Now that is a big door.
Without Cyrus,
Dyson and I would have shared the same fate. Repurposed into Clue's greatest weapon.
Alright, Clue. You want uppies? Yeah. Whee!
Another question, is there anything you were really afraid of making the choice on doing? So fanfiction gets a very bad rap for being poorly written gooner slop. So I know Joke was shaking during the first few episodes of the premiere because I didn't know how you guys were going to take the following. Number 1, Beck's progression into derezzing some programs. I felt it was a necessary change, and the general consensus is that it was a good change. Whenever I ran it by one of the concept artists, she said it always felt like something the writers added simply because of the age demographic. Like, can't have the main character of our kids show killing because killing is always 100% bad, even though Tron does it throughout the entire thing. Like, I understand it's a TVY7 show, but also the show is already kind of dark. Like, I feel like they could just, have some nuance there. Number 2, killing off the fan favorite Dyson in the first new episode, well, chronologically anyway, was a very difficult decision that I think was balanced out by the disc upgrade plot, because it kind of tied up that plot thread, but it also goes to show that Dyson probably would not have died if Pavel wasn't a cheating, lying, scummy program that gave the upgrade and, tipped the scales towards, Teslar's favor, at least balancing it out a little bit. Dyson is a very skilled fighter, and he had a lot of potential as a character, but I felt it was best to set these stakes for our characters as well as expectations for the viewer. No one was safe from Clue's rule, which I made true on that promise by the end of it. Number 3, the plotline with Beck and Paige's kid, whom I never named, was a gamble because, again, gooner slop, so I purposely kept it very kid-friendly. I mainly just wanted to explore how Clue would deal with it. That being said, I did come up with a way for them to have intercourse, seeing as they don't have genitals like their user counterparts, and don't worry, this is also kid-friendly, just a character creator. It's a technology that we've already seen throughout, like when Mara's changing her hair color, but basically 2 programs with matching codes. For example, Beck and Paige, there could be other ones out there. They can connect their discs and then together create their child, just like in Skyrim or Elden Ring. When they disconnect the disc, it gets sent to a printer where the kid and its disc get printed. This was met with some support. Lovecraftian Pirate on Discord made this fantastic art of their kid, whom the person named Rev, short for Revolution, and honestly, I dig the name. So Rev is the new official name of Beck and Paige's kid. Was there anything specific that made the cut through multiple rewrites, if I did any? Yes I did. The biggest thing that changed was episode 15, Fleeting Memories. Originally, I had the idea to have it at the very end, with Beck and Paige's kid stumbling around the grid, slowly learning about his parents, but it honestly, there's just something about it. It didn't feel episode-worthy, just like more so an interesting idea. And then I had the thought to do a fake-out death with Pavel, where he becomes egoless before picking up his memories and dying on his terms. I thought it was a great dive into his relationships, as well as beefing up episode 14, Sanctimonies Part 2, by having the non-chronological events where it's like, whoa, there's just this kamikaze pilot. I put it after the 2-parter just to keep his reappearance less significant, because as far as all the random programs are, they don't know who the pilot is that tried to kamikaze Beck. It's just some random person, which I think would piss off Pavel, which makes the whole thing even funnier. Like, he gets a second chance, uses it to be a douche, and still dies with no one even knowing that it was him. Peak. Tooting my own horn a little bit. I don't know, it's my favorite episode. The concept of the mindless program wandering around never got cut, it just transformed, and I honestly think it's a way better idea than Beck and Paige's kid, like, not doing anything for an entire episode. Number 2, something that was actually in the script all the way into the final cut was a scene where Cutler gets captured, and it's implied that he's repurposed between Code of Conduct Part 2 and Terminal. I cut it because the idea he's repurposed before Season 2 even starts changes the game just a little bit. It means that Cutler's motive was always to get to Tron. It makes Beck's abduction in Code of Conduct 1 way less coincidental, and it makes it a little bit less weird that Cutler doesn't specify what kind of ship they're on, because I had to tiptoe around the Super Recognizer reveal in episode 4. Because I rearranged the episodes, I still wanted it to be this big event, and so I couldn't have them mention it before, because then Beck would know, and then it's like, oh, ooh, Super Recognizer. It turned from me having to tiptoe around a reveal to being a little bit more nuanced. So I cut the scene of him getting captured. You can piece it together. He flipped at this point, flipped at that point. in my eyes, he flipped, sometime between when we see him in Renegade Part 2 of Season 1 and, before Season 2, Episode 1, Code of Conduct. Number 3, everyone dying in the end was also my plan all along. If they weren't seen in Legacy, in my headcanon, they were dead. Bartik and Hopper are both seen in the background of the End of Line Club, so they get the pass. Along the lines of Bartik and Hopper, I did cut the moment that Bartik gets his scar, because removing that scene from the battle, the final battle and how this ends, it allows the comic Solar Sailor prisoners to remain canon. I tried my best to keep as much stuff canon as possible. Tron Betrayal, all of the games except Evolution, obviously Tron and Tron Legacy, all of that's canon. Evolution was the only thing because I went back in time to the ISO Wars and all that stuff. User Ram Eating an Orange on Discord asked the following questions. How did your ideas develop? What was your writing process like? So after Jonathan and I had the general idea of what we wanted, it was just kind of filling in gaps with new stories that I wanted to tell, as well as strengthening the path that I wanted to take, getting our characters to where they needed to be. I would often hit the treadmill while typing on my phone. Keeping my brain occupied came in handy, because sitting at a computer desk for hours just typing away and thinking, especially when there's the urge to just play Minecraft instead, was a pretty big distraction. So thank you, Google Docs on mobile. As much as I hate it, it was better than nothing. The first draft was writing down basically no details. It was just mapping conversation topics, big moments, fights. The second draft was fleshing out plot lines with great detail. So, going in there and specifying like specific moves. I was typing in more conversations there. Originally, I wasn't going to do any dialogue. I ended up doing a lot more than I originally intended. The third draft came after I found some small errors and other writing blunders, the biggest of which happened in Code of Conduct Part 1, the original cut, because originally Cutler got captured first, and then Beck flies, bails him out of the recognizer where Cutler is being held, and then they just restart the plan, which we see in the new Code of Conduct Part 1, where Beck is the one that gets captured. I ended up just merging the 2 episodes, which gave me I was trying to keep it 18 episodes, just like the first season. Well, 17 that I'm writing because I moved around Terminal. It gave me a whole extra episodes, which I needed for the finale to breathe. I turned How This Ends into a 2-parter. I did have to do some renaming, but that's a small price to pay for a way tighter script. The final draft came after I read the entire thing out to Jonathan, my little brother. We binge watched all of Season 1, followed by Season 2 all in one day, which was 8.5 hours of sitting down. It was a lot, but it was fun. I mainly just touched up on some details. I don't have specific notes for that. I did change some wording in the dialogue because, especially in episode 16, Lockdown, there was some particularly weird dialogue. I just wasn't happy with it, and I ended up just changing some of it here and there because it was kind of cringe, low-key. What was the art process like? The original idea was basically just a script. I wasn't even really going to do dialogue. I was always going to do clips from Season 1 to help kind of beef it up, because YouTube is the audience I always intended it for. And I didn't just want a black screen. A disgusting amount of people online asked why I didn't animate, in quotations, my Season 2 with AI. It comes down to the fact that I think it's morally wrong to use generative AI, especially in the creative space, where the sole reason is to create art. Could you imagine if I used AI to write my script? It wouldn't have been mine or the fans' ideas. AI has never seen Tron Uprising. How would it know what to write? And what would I have gained? More time? Less money spent? This was a passion project. I didn't mind spending countless hours working on a Season 2 for my favorite show because I had complete control as to how it turned out. I also never would have found the artist that I worked with. When I was scrolling through TikTok one day, I found Cheese Bandit, and she had posted a video about animating a deleted scene from the original Season 2 plans all on her own, was learning Blender, or maybe not Blender, but a 3D software for it. I saw a similarity in mindset, reached out to her, and she started making some art, which we got in Episode 8, or The Purge, Part 3. Did multiple pieces, even though I just asked for one, she did 7, and they all look so good. Now, unfortunately, which I totally understand, not bashing her name at all, life got a little busy for her, and I didn't want to rush her but I was also on a time frame, so I got a hold of another artist that I found in the subreddit for Tron. Now, Reggie was taking commissions, so I commissioned the remaining episodes, and boy, did both of them deliver. Every single piece that they did absolutely blew me away. Like, I went from... I still end up using some Photoshop for some simpler stuff, but I never thought I was going to have, like, official concept art of my season, like, as an actual concept. And I've used it in thumbnails, promotional material. Like, that was single-handedly the best move I ever made, was working with these people, because they're so phenomenal and they're so talented. I don't think Cheese Bandit is taking commissions. I'm going to keep dropping her name because I'm sure if you reached out, maybe she'd figure it out. Reggie712 on Instagram, again, that's going to be in the description, is taking commissions, and she is fantastic. She was so easy to work with. She was reasonably priced, which, again, it's art, so, you know, gotta give them time to cook. And she worked fast. You know, on a budget of $300, which I was able to stay within budget, and that's including, you know, a tip that I sent. Literally so fantastic. Like, it turned my small little project into, like, something that just felt very tangible. And I do think the ambient music that I got from my brother, NOLAN.VOID, which is going to be in the background of this video as well, seriously, it all just came together, and it made it feel so much more lively than I ever anticipated. Like, this project went from, like, you know, okay, this is kind of like a fun little passion thing, to, like, okay, this is actually going to be like a legit full-on story. It's going to have voice acting, it's going to have art, music. Like, this is very much the first ever, like, project that I've ever done where I've, like, written and directed it, and I'm so proud of how it turned out. I set up to tie loose ends for the show while staying faithful to its characters, its story, and to the fans. I wanted to deliver a season 2 worthy of the Tron Uprising name, but that's not a question that I can answer because you guys are the ones that watched it. Like, obviously I'm proud of it, but do you guys think I delivered, like, a good season 2? I would love to hear you guys' favorite moments, episodes, fight scenes. If you have any further questions, I'm willing to answer them in the comments. If you've made it to the end of this video and you still haven't seen Tron Uprising Season 1 or 2, what are you doing? Season 1 is, like, one of the greatest shows of all time, and I'm white, you know? You would think Breaking Bad would be #1, but here we are. Thank you guys for all your support. Thanks for joining me on the grid, and until next time, end of line.